I want to kick off with the big picture, and it feels like to me that every news story that I hear or read about universities at the moment is pretty much negative. What's going on in Australia's university sector?
Well, 30 years of neoliberalism's broken them. Like, to be clear, the unis aren't in good shape. And the unis do need, I think, better public funding and a different regulatory regime. But at the moment, they're in the worst of both worlds. Some unis are actually making quite a lot of profit or surplus because they're not for profit, they're owned by the government. But some of them are doing quite well, some of them are doing quite badly. But they're all quite poorly regulated. And on the one hand, they're not companies and they don't have directors and they don't report to the share market. So they don't get that scrutiny.
Yep.
But they're also not government departments and they're not showing up at, estimates committees and, having ministers and opposition and crossbenchers grilling them. So they're not getting investor scrutiny. They're not getting parliamentary scrutiny. They are getting a lot of public money. They're paying their vice-chancellors up to $1.5 million a year.
Yeah.
Most of them are sitting on multi-billion dollars of accumulated surpluses, but the government has changed things like how many foreign students they can have. So things have changed. We've been cutting their funding gradually over time. So you've kind of got the worst of all worlds. Bad governance, really high-paid vice-chancellors, declining public revenues, and students and staff that are taking it in the neck. So the reason I've been writing about their finances is that some of the ones that are crying poor are actually doing quite well.
Yeah.
But they're saying, I'm poor. I can only afford to do the things I feel like doing, but I have no choice but to sack staff and cut popular courses.
Yeah.
But again, they're not exposed to investor pressure on that. How did you make that choice, Vice-Chancellor?
Yeah.
They're not exposed to parliamentary pressure. How did you make that choice, Vice-Chancellor? It's more, leave me alone. Don't you know I get paid $1.5 million a year to make these decisions?
These tough decisions.
Yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks. It's
Yeah.
So it's just a mess. It really is bad. And I think the government needs to pull their socks up. But until we fix the governance of the unis, no one's going to care. No one's going to want to fix a place where the VC's getting paid 3 times the Prime Minister's salary saying, don't you know I'm broke?
Yeah.
You don't sound broke, mate.
Yeah. So universities are supposed to be places of learning. That's supposed to be the central. But as you said, many of them have really morphed into these kind of billion-dollar institutions. A lot of them heavily reliant on foreign students because of previous policy decisions. I mean, how did we get here? Is it neoliberalism's, chickens coming home to roost?
It is. Like, ultimately, that's what's happened. And to be clear, this isn't what most countries do, and most countries don't have this mess. So it's not inevitable. This is not a global phenomena, like the debacle of our childcare, like the debacle of our aged care, like the debacle of carbon offsets, you name it. Australia kind of leads the world in stuffing up the provision of simple public services.
Yeah.
Unis are just kind of the latest version of it. But yeah, look, back in the 80s, we started to move towards student fees. That was going to give universities an incentive to behave differently. Then we gave them incentives to chase corporate money for research. Then we gave them incentives to chase foreign students. So you've got these publicly owned, publicly funded institutions. Most of their money comes from taxpayers with these kind of things that are supposed to be the icing on the cake. Bit of student revenue from domestic students, bit of foreign, right? But the icing it's all icing, no cake.
Yeah.
And we're not paying attention to the actual undergraduate degrees that Australian students are getting. We're not paying attention to our academics doing the research we need. And the VCs earning $1.5 million, they're obsessed with the kind of business-like part of their organisation, even though most of their organisation should be focused on, are we delivering good university degrees for students at a fair price?
Yeah.
That's the job.
Yeah.
But that's not interesting. That's not what you earn $1.5 million for managing.
Yeah. So that was going to be my next question. What impact is this having on students?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And, I'm an escapee from academia. I had a wonderful undergrad degree at Newcastle Uni a long, long time ago. not the best uni in the country, not the best uni in the world, but I had a really good education. I had a really good experience getting that education. I worked part-time and could afford that education. And I just think that so many people who are close to the university sector, well, I'll put it another way. I don't know anyone who's close to the uni sector that would say, oh, it's as good as that today, Richard. That doesn't mean everything in every uni is terrible, but nobody who's paying attention thinks that education quality is improving, student experience is improving, that academics have got more time to invest in students or in research. So all of this chasing of the icing on the cake has kind of stripped away a focus on the simple stuff and hasn't even delivered the financial benefits it was supposed to.
It was supposed to in the first place. So the Australian Institute has done some polling around what Australians think about the university sector. What did that find?
It found that most Australians are shocked and disappointed to learn how expensive going to uni in Australia is. And that's the problem, that because neoliberalism has trained us to think you buying a degree is like you buying a car or a jacket. What do I care? You know, that's a transaction between you and the car dealer. That's a transaction between you and the jacket shop.
No one's forcing you.
No one's forcing you. No one's holding a gun to your head. So because neoliberalism, we've really transformed the way that unis behave, that unis treat students, that unis spend a fortune on advertising, competing with other universities in a zero-sum game. Now, I understand why Coles and Woolworths spend a lot of money trying to attract students, trying to attract customers to Coles or Woolworths. But shareholders are asking really hard questions like, are you getting value out of those ads? But how does Australia benefit when two universities in the same city are spending millions of bucks on ads saying, don't go there, come here?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? So much of the thinking and focus of the business part of these unis is focused on the bits that don't make Australia better, that don't make the student experience better, that don't make the staff experience better. So, yeah, the polling we've done really highlights that Australians are shocked, you know, that the fees are so high, and the vast majority of Australians just don't think anyone should be paying more than 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, it's still free in a hell of a lot of other countries.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.